just might have been disenfranchised during the August 2nd Democratic primary in the city of St. Louis. Stephen Deere from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, congratulations. Thanks for checking in on a busy day.
Hey, no problem. Glad to do it.
Explain to us this latest story. This trial is going on, and yet it was just announced that there's a grand jury. Explain the difference to people.
Well, the trial is a civil matter. This is Frank's suit to overturn the election. That's what the judge in this case, in this trial, is trying to decide. There's another separate criminal investigation going on, and while Joan Berger, the head of the election board, was on the stand, she kind of let it slip that some of the records might be subpoenaed, and that the circuit attorney has told her that there's a grand jury going to be that a grand jury is going to be convened.
Also, I guess Penny Hubbard's lawyer on the stand in her opening argument said that they can't claim a single vote wasn't infringed upon, and then claims later that there were, in fact, ballots that probably should have been thrown out.
Yeah, I mean, and those things might not be totally contradictory, right? I mean, what she's saying is that you can't claim that any of those ballots, the voter didn't intend to vote the way that those ballots show. It's kind of a technicality. And of course you can't, because you don't have access to those ballots. I mean, you can't grab a ballot and take it back to the voter and say, hey, did you vote this way? Because it's a secret and it's mixed up with all the other ballots right now.
Right. But many ballots, according to your reporting, turned up with no envelope. And that's sort of how you hand in a absentee ballot, with an envelope, right?
That's what the law kind of says. I mean, it doesn't really make a provision for voting in person on a machine or by slipping a ballot in a box. The law, when you read the law about absentee ballots, it's pretty specific. They come in envelopes. And that's so that on election night, if you want to have a campaign worker there challenging those votes or the validity of those votes, I mean, how do you do that if you have a bunch of them that have already been slipped into a box or electronically counted?
Yeah. So this trial, which, as you said, is a civil trial, is to determine whether or not this election should be certified, should be overturned, should be redone. What's this trial going to determine?
The election's already been certified by the Secretary of State. This trial is going to determine if there is sufficient evidence that casts enough doubt on the election results to order a new election. And they're under some pretty tight time constraints. The election board has said that we can't. It's going to be very difficult if we go beyond Tuesday to start getting everything ready so that we can have an election and then get somebody on the ballot for the November 8th election. But part of that, I mean, that, to be honest, I mean, they kind of helped delay everything by closing records that a judge said should have been open.
Right. So is there any precedent to throw out an election and then have it redone in the very next election cycle?
I don't know. I'm still trying to get a handle on that. I mean, I think it's really rare. The experts I've talked to can't really recall when this has been done before. And I don't know if it's been done in a primary before, when you have this situation where you have another election coming, a few months away. It's going to be really. I mean, if the judge, in fact, decides that there's going to be a new election, orders a new election, I mean, it's going to be very interesting how it's handled.
Stephen Deere with a St. Louis Post-Dispatch columnist. I want to get this question in because I know you enough to know that you want to report the story and not be part of the story. But is it true that Penny Hubbard's attorney is out taking pictures of you interviewing people and posting those pictures on Twitter?
Not quite. And so what happened was I had asked to go along with the Franks campaign while they were getting sworn affidavits from voters who claimed to have had their ballots filled out for them or that they were improperly registered to vote. And these are only like maybe one or two voters that we talked to in this matter. Mm-hmm. but I knew they had a line on some people, and so I wanted to talk to those people myself. And so on Sunday, while I was out there, we were talking to a voter, actually the guy that's in the lead of the story, from yesterday, Rennell Caldwell. And while we were doing that, somebody comes up behind us with a cell phone, and it's a guy, and it's a man, and he's kind of just talking to somebody on FaceTime. And that person is ordering him. It's a lady, and she's directing him to take pictures of all of us. And it's a Hubbard campaign worker. And so while I'm out there, that information gets texted, but my picture gets texted to Duker. I don't know how she gets it, but Duker gets it.
Right. And
then she posts it and says, "Oh, here's this Post-Dispatch reporter coordinating with the Franks campaign," and I can't remember what else she said, and harassing voters, and we have statements that STL Today is telling people that they're coerced to lie, none of which is true. So. That's what happens.
Because you're just basically doing your job.
You're doing your job, and they're calling you out. Yeah, we should say Jane Duker is Penny Hubbard's attorney, as well as KMOX radio personality. So she comments on the news and seems to be making the news all at the same time. Stephen Deere, we will continue to read your expert reporting at stltoday.com. Thanks for checking in.
Thanks, McGraw.
You got 650.